camera.
Quiet on the set. Hey guys, welcome back to another bikini review. This is actually going to be the Ben Weider show that happened in Washington, D.C. The Ben Weider Naturals happened about 5 weeks ago now. So if you haven't watched the Atlantic Coast Pro, I did the review of all the call outs. And, you know, that's something you guys seem to enjoy. So I'm going to do another one now. For this show, we were in Washington, D.C. So I'm going to jump right in to the first call outs because I had quite a few athletes here. We're going to go through first call outs, second call outs, final call outs. And then we're going to focus on finals and just get into some of the results and what I'm seeing with these athletes and, you know, why they're placing where they're placing. So yeah, let's just get into it. Wonderful show in Washington, D.C. Becky Clausen was the head judge. So first things first, we're already going to start with the first call outs. Now, something really cool happened here in first call outs. It's never happened to me before. And that is I had 4 competitors in first call outs. So they called out 8 girls initially. And, you know, going into the show, I had a really good feeling about a few of my athletes. I thought all of my athletes would have been in first call-outs. There's one who was not. We'll get into that in a second, and we can discuss a little bit of why. But the 4 that were in there were standouts. And, you know, I wasn't able to make it to this show, so I had Coach Stephen Bogrand head up to Washington, D.C., to be my eyes and ears. So he got to see the girls the day before in the gym and train. And the day before the show, you can tell who's on. You can just see somebody and be like, wow, you are really popping. Well, I got some feedback from Steven that Shaneeka looked incredible, that Brittany looked incredible, that Flora looked incredible, that Toni looked incredible, that Larissa looked incredible, right? So I was feeling very confident. So going into this show, you know, Flora Wang had placed first call outs at a couple pro shows already this year. I knew she was good. Brittany Shulman had actually won the overall at this show the year before. And then that same day, she had placed top 6 in the pro. Last year, they let her actually compete as a pro after she won her pro card. So now, another really cool thing that's really, I don't know if it's ever happened to me before. My competitors are splitting middle. So typically at these shows, the middle is good, right? The middle is 1 or 2. Outside the middle is 3 or 4. Then you got 5 or 6, 7 or 8, right? So right away, they moved Brittany Shulman into center, and then they kept Toni in the middle, Mini Beast Toni. And so, you know, as a coach, these shows, they're kind of all or nothing. And what I mean by that is pro bikini is very cutthroat. You either win or you don't. And what I mean by that is there's an Olympia qualification on the line. And as far as competitors go, that's one of the most kind of the biggest honors you can have as a bikini pro is qualify to go to the Olympia. So if you win, you go to the Olympia. If you get second, you get nothing. They don't do points anymore. You used to be able to accrue points and go to the Olympia. They got rid of that system. So these are kind of all or nothing moments. So having girls splitting middle, it's exciting because it's like, okay, we got somebody potentially going to the Olympia here. So what they did was they took off the top 4 competitors. That's a really good indicator that those top 4 were the top 4 girls. They brought the other 4 in, and now they start moving some people around again. So what you'll see here is, you know, you've got Janine Herrera, who is a fantastic competitor. I saw her compete maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 times this year. She's always in the top call-outs, always someone that you think is potentially going to be winning a show. You got Shaneeka next to her, and then Flora Wang. Now, Flora, you know, not being there in person, it's always tough because you try to make assumptions about what's going on with an athlete. I thought she looked incredible. When I saw her the day before, I thought, okay, she's going to be in contention to win. In my mind, she was going to be one of the girls that was fighting for the middle spot. So to see her not in that top 4 was a little bit surprising for me if you look at her front pose. But looking back at these pictures now, I can just see that, you know, her glute depth is not as good as the girls that were in that top 4. I think her front pose is absolutely stunning. And then again, for her to get moved out here, this was a confusing call for me. I did not think that the young lady in the green suit, forgive me, I don't know her name. I did not think she had the muscularity, the shape that the other girls had. But again, I wasn't there in person. So sometimes, you know, you're seeing things with coach's goggles, I call it. You know, when you look at a physique every day for months on end, just human nature, human psychology, you get so adjusted to seeing them. Now in this video, all the way to the left, there's a girl named Noelle Zayor, who is a fantastic competitor. I've seen her multiple times, great shape. You don't realize the height differences between these athletes. I think Noelle's, probably pushing the 5 foot mark, and Flora's probably pushing, 5'6". And you just see them different on stage. As a pro bikini competitor, there are no more height classes. And this is, one of the things that makes the pros much more difficult. There's no heights, there's no ages. It's just the best of the best. So we still got Shaneeka in this group, and we still got Flora. And so what you're looking at here is basically 6 through 10. Because we've got actually 7 competitors. So right now it appears that the young lady in the green suit, the blonde hair, she would be 5th, right? Because she's holding down center. Now, this was another decision that, moving Janine out of that top, looks like almost out of the top 10, could be, because if you look at the top 4, middle being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the outsides on this would be roughly 10th or 11th place. And you don't really know until finals. I don't think that they put people on either side. They just move them to positions and then let the judges decide, where they're going to end up. But based on this, it looks like the young lady in the green is going to finish in that 5th spot. But honestly, I was watching this on the live stream at my friend Brett's gym, and it couldn't have taken longer, right? When you have a competitor in the middle at prejudging, all you want to do is get to finals and get that result. So, but typically what they do at these shows is they'll go through all the rounds of all the call outs, and then they'll bring out one final call out, which is either the top 2, the top 4, the top 6, the top 3. If you watch the video with Ariana and Jasmine Gonzalez, they brought out the top 3 at the Atlantic Coast Pro, right? So, but it's basically the judges getting a one last look, because again, there's a big thing on the line here, the Olympia qualification. So you don't want anything left to chance. Now, in this group, this is where Larissa came out, and I was a little surprised. So Larissa turned pro this year at USA's, and I felt like, man, she's just got a great overall look. So if you look at the video here, she's 3rd from the left in the red with the blonde hair. To her left is another great competitor named Casey Rodriguez. I've seen her compete many times. She always shows up very conditioned, great shape, great overall look. On the far right is a competitor that I turned pro a couple years ago named Melanie Lingiardi. She's now, I believe, self-coached, or maybe she's working with a different coach. I didn't realize she was in this show until I saw the videos come out. But a fantastic physique, probably the greatest abs in the entire sport of bodybuilding. Her abs are just insane. They look like they're drawn on. But Melanie has, I always felt she has great shape. She's just a little bit on the smaller side, and I don't think she's added that size to get into those top call-outs yet. And there's another girl from Pro Physique who is coached by Matt Whites named Bianca that just got moved in. So yeah, if you look at 3rd from the left, Larissa, the feedback that I got from her was, from the judge, was they want to see more shape out of her physique. So a little bit more glute depth at the top, and then in her front pose, creating more shape, because the bikini division is about creating the S curve in the front pose. And, if you pose a certain way, you can create more shape, or you can be a little bit more linear, like straight up and down. And so I think Larissa and I have to work on creating a little bit more shape. Now, you can do that with multiple things. You can do that with more muscle. You can do that by posing. And some people just have more natural shape to them. So what I see here is if you just do the naked eye test and look for the most curve on stage, right? I'm probably looking at right of center, blue suit. Again, I don't know her name. And apologies if you're watching this video and I don't know your name. I keep up with the sport pretty well, but there's a lot of bikini pros out in the world. Okay, so that was the final call out. Then here's what they're going to do. They're going to bring out only the top 4. So again, with the top 4, and I believe the young lady in the light blue suit is named Africa Sands, and I was not familiar with her, but I will be familiar with her forever. She looked amazing. I mean, stunning from the front, and then from the back, I just don't quite think either the size is there or the conditioning is there in the glutes to be beating the the girls that were in this group, because I think she finished 4th, right? So this is from the back. Becky turns them back to the front, and I believe she moves Brittany right back into the middle, which is what you want. As a coach right now, I'm kind of like, okay, get my girls back to the middle. I want to go to the Olympia. Okay, cool. They move Brittany back in. And then the young lady with the blonde hair and the blue suit, that is Lizzie. She's coached by my friend Dylan. And so now I'm like, wait a minute, why aren't they moving Toni back into the middle? Because Toni was in the middle before. So again, as a coach, your mind starts to wander, but you're looking at the criteria. Lizzie fits it very well. Great balance. But I just felt, even watching this live, and even, Steven was there in person, and, he was trying to text me. There was really bad reception down there. But his thought was the eye test went to Brittany. And that's something I use a lot, is the word the eye test. When you're there in person, there's certain competitors, and it's hard to explain with pictures and videos. They just are on. They just have that, their skin tone, their muscle fullness. And Brittany and I had not been on stage in a full year. So we were able to run multiple peak weeks going into the show to kind of mock what it would be like. Now, this show was on a Friday, so that was part of it. So now I'm like, come on, move Toni back into the middle, because the last thing I want is to be stressed out for a few hours until they go to finals, wondering if it's going to be Brittany or Lizzie, right? Because I would have been thrilled for Dylan, because he's never had a bikini Olympian. And I know the feeling of getting your first one. So part of me was like, even if we don't get the win, I would have been happy for Dylan, but I really wanted the win. Sorry. Because, for Brittany, this was our one shot. This was the last competition weekend of the year in the United States. Now, there was another show on Sunday in Hawaii, and another show on Sunday in Fort Lauderdale, which, if you saw Shaneeka in this video, you realized she went to both shows, but it's not something that I was going to place on anybody. I also had Ariana doing that show in Fort Lauderdale, and there's not many people on this planet that can beat that girl right now. So I wasn't going to send a competitor down there in the hopes of beating her. So this was kind of Brittany's one shot to get Olympia qualified, as well as Toni's for this part of the year. Now, Toni and I had talked about doing the Japan Pro, but she opted out. So what they do at finals typically is they reverse the order. They start with the last call out, then they bring everybody out, usually with them doing 4 through 10, with 1 through 4. I assume they're going to bring out like 5 through 10. So you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's exactly what they have here. So this is the call out for, well, maybe they're going to do the final 6, because they're missing the young lady with the blonde hair, and they're missing, well, there's no El Zahor. So I'm not sure which group this is, but I'm guessing it's 7 through 12 then. Unless they're going to bring out 5. I'm trying to remember, because the young lady with the blonde hair and the green suit, I don't see her, and I would expect her to be in this call out, because I know who the top 4 are, and I thought she was 5th, and they ended up moving Noelle in to like the 5th or to the 6th position, and Janine out. So maybe they're just doing a confirmation round, and they're not really moving people into different call outs. We'll see right here what they ended up doing, because it's been a minute now. So if they bring out 4 or 6, I'm guessing it's got to be 6, no? So there's Lizzie, who was in the middle. Okay, so they are bringing out 6. I believe this young lady's name is Jennifer Lynch. Met her a few times. Very, very just bubbly personality, sweetheart. I think she turned pro at this show as well a couple years ago. So now that's what it was. Okay, so this is the top 6. That other one was 7 through 12. So top 6. So, you're looking for signs as a coach. Brittany Shulman moved right to the center. First things first. Now I'm guessing they're going to swap Jennifer and Lizzie, which they do. Yep. So again, I was watching this at Brett's gym, just thinking, okay, I don't really want to hear anything but Brittany Shulman's name called last, which was, again, I had gotten some really good feedback from Steven. I was quite confident, looking at this pose, Brittany's upper glute bubble is just fantastic. And she was incredibly tight. She actually came down to the Olympia in Orlando just before this. So I got to see her in person. And I'm telling you, when I saw her in person, I'm like, dang, you look like a bikini Olympian. She came to the gym and posed with, I had Daraja there, Ariana there, I had Nade there. And I was like, man, you fit right into this group. Like I could see you being a bikini Olympian. So to see her on the stage, shortly after, And then we're just waiting for the awards. And then, you know, when they announce these two, who's going to the Olympia, because whoever they say in second, there's only one left. They've gone 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd. So this is the moment that Brittany, and I'm even going to get a little emotional because this is the moment she knows she's going to the Olympia. She took an entire year and did one show. She turned pro at this show the year before, spent the whole year with one goal in mind. We reverse dieted, we built, we started prep, we dieted down. She's been with me for 2 years now, and it's been just a remarkable run. She defines the bikini criteria. She's so good. And our feedback after this show, and congrats to Toni on taking 3rd. Our feedback from the show was just build the upper body a little bit to match the lower, and we're going to come out swinging next year. And then we're going to probably, you know, be fighting to get in some shows right before the Olympia. So hope you guys enjoyed. Congrats to Brittany. Congrats to Toni, Shaneeka, Larissa, Flora. I'm so proud of all you guys and all the competitors that are at the show. And hopefully you enjoyed this content. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, comments, or you'd like to see more of these, because I love doing them. These live streams are really handy to watch back. All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.